Okay, so this is how good I think the characters are in theory, not just in tournament play in 2019. This is going to be based off my gut feeling and how good the character is. Okay. Number one, I just don't think it's any other character. I think every other character has matchups that are potentially evenish. I think the only matchup I truly see at the end of the day, Fox potentially losing is Marth, and even then, in absolute theory, I'm skeptical on if I think he would actually lose in theory. I think FD sucks. FD for sure sucks, and that's the only reason why I say that potentially he's not as good. But I don't see him losing to Falco at all. I don't see him losing to. I see him bodying Sheik. I see him bodying Falcon. I see him bodying Pikachu and Yoshi badly. Uh, I see him destroying Puff. Like, I think Fox, in theory, shits all over Puff's life. I think Fox shits on Puff in theory, without a doubt. So I'd put Fox up here, almost for sure. And then number two, I'd put Falco. I think just the existence of having a tool that lets Falco control neutral so well. I think Falco's biggest drawback right now is difficulty in consistently executing a game plan at a level that allows you to basically just not randomly die at almost all times. And I think, in theory, Falco's pretty goddamn good. Puff's pretty fucking good. Puff is pretty good, but I do think that there is a universe where people get good enough where Puff would be extremely, extremely, extremely hard to actually win neutral against all the characters above her. And I'll go over that. Basically, I think Falco would go evenish versus everyone in the top, beat solidly everyone below, and shit on everyone down here. And in theory, Marth should be 0 to death. In theory, Marth shouldn't get opening on Spaceys. In theory, Marth shouldn't win neutral against Spaceys, in my opinion. I do think Marth is probably third. I do think Marth is probably third. Does fine versus both these characters. Does fine versus Puff. My issue comes with that. Puff not top 3? No, I don't think Puff's top 3 in theory. I think Puff is probably 4th in theory. Fine versus these characters. I think Marth does probably beat Puff in theory. Marth probably the likeliest to beat Falco. But Marth obviously has some weird matchups. Marth Pikachu is pretty fucking weird. And I don't think Marth Sheik. The more I think about Marth Sheik, I just think it's going to be a pretty hard matchup for Marth. I co-game with 10,000 bits. I think Marth Sheik's going to be a pretty tough matchup, almost no matter what. Even if Marth wins, it's not going to be as easy as I think these characters will have it. And then after that, I think will probably be Puff. Do you think Falcon jumps up in theory? Yes, I do. And I'll explain why. Actually, I have to think about that. So Puff, I think, loses to all three characters in theory. I know that people are going to flame me on Twitter. I know that a lot of the top players are going to flame me on Twitter. But I do think that they're, like, Puff is annoying, yes. Puff is extremely annoying, yes. Puff has a lot of really scary rest setups. Sure, I agree. I'm scared of Puff too. But if you're going to, like, super theoretical levels of play, Puff's not getting an opening on Fox. Puff's not getting an opening on Falco. And Marth has a big-ass sword. And very reliable kill setups, or decently reliable kill setups. And that's kind of hard to beat. Obviously, there's time for my mind to change. There is a world where I see this. There is a world where this is my thought. But right now, I'm going to leave it at that. So, I've thought a lot about Sheik versus Falcon, like what I think theory-wise it should be. And the more I think about it, the more I actually like Falcon more than I like Sheik in theory, just because of matchup spreads. But my issue comes in with thinking that I have no idea how Sheik does versus Puff in theory. I just don't know how Sheik does versus Puff in theory. It's like, do I think Sheik gets better, or do I think she gets worse versus Puff the better you get? My inclination is to say better, but I know how many rest setups and how easy it is for Puff to edge guard, and I don't really know. I'll be honest. Falcon loses to Peach. I don't think Falcon loses to Peach. I think it's a pretty even matchup. Sheik Puff's hard. There's not a lot of levels of it. There's not a lot of data on it. But having said that, I think I'd probably still go with Sheik. The reason being, I think Sheik will do better versus Falco. Similar versus Fox. I actually think in theory, Sheik does better versus Marth than Falcon. Just, it's kind of weird at a practical level. And Falcon only does better versus Puff. Has Peach ever gone Fox versus Puff? Yes, he did at Shine, and almost won. And so I'm probably going to go with Sheik and then Falcon for the same reasons. Falcon's still kind of hard versus Falco. Pretty good versus Puff. Slight loses to Marth, in my opinion. Should lose pretty badly to Fox, and I think Falcon does lose to Sheik. So my guess would be these two. And then again, Peach is kind of down here. I think Peach is like, okay. But not that. Again, gatekeeper status. I think, no, it's not the same. It's not the same list. Wait, it's definitely not. Puff, Marth, Fox, Falco. Fox, Falco, Marth, Puff is not the same at all. I don't think this tier changes at all. I'll be honest. What I do think changes is I think Icy's get way worse in theory. So B tier would be kind of like first characters. See winning a super major. And for me, that would probably be Pikachu. I think in theory, I'd expect Yoshi to be better than Pikachu. I know Blur's going to have a fucking heart attack. I don't care. I think parrying is a really, really good tool in theory. I think parrying in theory is an extremely, extremely good tool. And I think Pikachu does struggle too much versus Puff. And I think in theory, if everyone's equally good at every matchup, Pikachu loses a huge edge he has, which is being really good versus Marth and being really good versus Falcon. I think if people just played the matchup a lot more and were more adept to it, all these characters are going to get better versus these characters, and I think Yoshi's the only one who could stick around like well if people like really knew the matchups. And then I throw Samus in this tier because I do think that like she has stuff she can probably do. So Samus to me is kind of in the same boat as Pikachu and Yoshi, where she's a really, really good character, could win a super major. You just need someone who's extraordinarily talented with her to come along. But not anyone can pick up Samus win a super major. Very few people can. And it's the worst character I could see winning a super major. These characters could maybe get top 8. Samus' big weaknesses, I think she gets fucked by Falco. I think in theory she loses badly to Fox. Falcon shits on her. Sheik's pretty rough. All these characters are pretty rough for her. In theory, I actually think Doc is probably better than Luigi. This is a complete feel that I haven't actually thought about. I haven't actually thought about this too much, and so this is kind of like a gut instinct. But to me, it feels like Doc has, like, the fact that Luigi has such bad aerial drift to me screams like bad character. Just something about it screams really, really bad gimmicky character. His recovery is super linear and one dimensional. I'm like, even if misfires exist, it's just a bad recovery. I'm sorry, it's a really bad recovery. His edge guarding is not great. His edge guarding is really not that good. And Doc, I think, can actually hold his own. Doc has a great out of shield option, like a frame one out of. I think it's like, or it's like the up B cancel out of shield. I don't know what frame it is, but it's like really good. He has a good out of shield option, pretty good punish game. He has a chain grab on the spacies, and he has a guaranteed like kill setup off of it. Like down throw does lead to a guaranteed kill setup. Way better edge guarding. Cape is super super good. I think Doc's actually really good. I would have Luigi next. Does have some stuff, but not really like that great. Kind of just worse in almost every way. I think Luigi's like percent base combo game probably better. Like he can build more percent, but I don't think he can kill as easily. His recovery is probably a little worse. His edge guarding is definitely worse. So I would think he would be a little bit worse. And I think that this character fucking sucks. I think that this character is a really, really bad character. I know a lot of people think that, like, oh, Icy's are so good. They have all these handoff things in theory, and they can do all this. And I'm looking at it, and I'm just like, wash. Literally doesn't have to interact and can win. Wash. In my opinion, in theory, wash. Wins probably. Washed. Don't know the matchup. And then even down here, like, bad matchup from what I've heard. Bad matchup. Even Zelda does, like, not... Zelda doesn't beat Ices. Zelda does, like, not badly versus Ices. Like, I don't think that this matchup is, like, very, very good. But yeah, so that would be... These are the characters I think could potentially get top 8. I do not see any other one of these characters getting top 8. And so these characters are the characters that I think are just outright bad. I'll try to do like a general order. Mario, Ganon, DK. DK Ganon, probably reverse that. I genuinely don't even think about these characters. I'm going to throw this in like a general feel order, and then I'll actually go through it. Is that Young Link? Oh, no, wait, that's Young Link. Link fucking sucks. I'll go through these in a second and actually try to do this, but... I don't fucking know, man. Sure. You're there somewhere. You're there somewhere. You're there somewhere. I think Ness is garbage. I don't really know. Opinion on Rishi's DK, it's just a gimmick. Like, DK is a bad character, has no shield. He just has a good stage on FD. You really think Ganon top 8? No, not in theory. In theory, absolutely not. In theory, destroyed. Mewtwo worse than Pichu? I don't know what I think of these matchups, like, at all. I haven't ever really given, like, serious thought to it. Probably something like this. But... probably it. This is probably what I would think in, like, theory. You think Ganon Peach is even? I think you don't know Melee. I think Bowser's but don't really matter. The only reason I give it to Bowser is because he has some kill moves and he has a frame 1 invincible option as shield. Like, that's literally the only reason I'm giving him this spot. Beyond that, I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know. Okay.